where the Gulf of Mexico meets the Caribbean Sea, a tropical island, palm trees, sandy streets, fishing boats, and a slow pace of life. Yet these are not the only draws of coming to this corner of Mexico. Somewhere behind me, out in the Caribbean Sea, are the migrating whale sharks which come here every year. And I'm going to be heading out a couple hours by boat to try to find them and swim with them. At the pier, guides and captains prepared their boats. More than a dozen vehicles headed out to sea, each one carrying tourists hoping to catch sight of the biggest fish in the sea. We scoured the waters around us, but it was not for several hours before we had our first sighting. A triangle of fin and the tip of a tail, often the only parts of the whale shark which break the surface. Tourists on board quickly put on their fins and masks and jumped overboard. Each had their turn, spending about 10 minutes in the water before trading places with the next group. Over the course of the tour, there can be several opportunities to swim with the whale shark. A half-day trip costs around $150 per person. Well, that was an incredible day. 3 sightings of whale sharks in the space of a few hours. One of them was 10 to 11 meters long, which is about as big as they get. The next day, I took to the water. Surprisingly, perhaps, it was not difficult to keep pace with these huge creatures. When they're feeding, the whale shark does not travel at great speed, and these waters were murky with plankton, their favourite food. That's the reason often cited as to why the whale shark comes to these shores in such numbers. Well, much bigger than yesterday's whale shark. Just from going from the fin to the tail. Here it's 5 meters. Extraordinary creature. You just trust that it's not going to flip its tail and send you flying. The density of migrating whale sharks here has given rise to a flourishing business for whale shark tour operators. Mexican authorities have introduced some legislation, including capping boat licenses and mandating training for guides, as well as setting up a marine conservation park.
The most important rule is that we are not allowed to touch them. The reason we don't touch them is because we really want to make sure that these animals, they keep coming back year after year. Touching them, we're going to be scaring them away. We all should be taking care of these animals.
It's hoped that the value of whale shark tourism will help conserve the species. Formal tours did not begin here on Isla Holbox until less than 10 years ago, when fishermen were looking for alternate revenue sources. Already, the benefits for the local community have been significant.
Now it's very important for the island, Michelle, okay? When everybody who works here, we're waiting for this season because it's very important. A lot of people come to Holbox to enjoy Holbox, but a lot of people come to swim with the whale shark. And it's only 2 months that we have, and it's very, very important.
Tougher legislation, changes in attitude towards conservation, controlled tourism, and raising awareness about this area of Mexico, fortunate to have reported the greatest concentrations of whale sharks in the world. All this may help ensure a safer future for this gigantic, yet still vulnerable species.